This is just ridiculous. Everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be my 21 books that I want to read in 2021 challenge. Oof, this is going to be a tough one. I feel like every year I'm adding one more book and it's becoming harder and harder, although I'm very excited. I feel like this is almost another big book reading challenge because so many of these are like over 500, if not 1,000 pages. So a lot of reading to do in 2021. For anyone that is interested, I will be doing a book club on my Patreon. It's $1 to just begin if you are interested. Every month we will pick one book from this list to read together, and once in a while I might pick other ones if you are interested. So let's go through the 21 books because, ooh, quite a few. A lot of really famous kind of classic books, especially in the fantasy and sci-fi categories. I feel like I read less fantasy last year than I ever do, and there are still so many really popular ones that I haven't read yet. So we're changing that in 2021, and I'm also continuing series, which I always forget. In my defense, I don't like waiting until a series is done, so I tend to like make myself wait a little bit. But yes, again, 2021, we're getting over that. The perfect example of this, oh yeah, Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, the second book in the Stormlight Archive series. I read finally a couple months ago, like 4 months ago actually, the first book, The Way of Kings, and I loved it. It's a very, very famous, I feel like everyone knows it, adult fantasy series, and love magic. I love Brandon Sanderson. I need to continue. I am so scared of this book. It is ridiculously big. How many pages? It's just 1,000 pages? For some reason, it looks so thick. I don't know if it's the edition that I have, but big chunky boy. And yes, I'm reading this in 2021. I'm very, very excited. I do have book 3 on my shelf, and then eventually I want to get my hands on book 4 and continue reading them. But yes, gotta start with book 2. So definitely one of the ones I'm hoping to get to this year, and definitely one of the ones that should be in the big book category. Speaking of which, oh yeah, once again, The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. I read the first book 2-3 months ago. I just did, and I ended up enjoying it more than I expected. It made it to my most surprising books of 2020. I feel like there's just so much hype behind this eventually trilogy that I thought I wasn't going to like it that much, but Magical School, definitely something that wins me over most of the time. This one is actually bigger. It doesn't look, see, it's also 1,000 pages, but it looks so much thinner because of the page size. I think it's 1,000 pages exactly. I'm a little nervous just because every time I announce that I'm planning on reading a really popular book, everyone tells me I'm going to love it or hate it, and now I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen, but still, hopeful. Although I'm trying not to get too excited just because, again, the third book, what will happen? A lot of people told me that basically the author put himself in a corner and it's kind of hard to write the third book. It doesn't matter. In 2021, I shall be continuing this series. Let's continue with big, scary fantasy, adult fantasy books and series. Oh, that one. I am so nervous about it. The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I've never read this series. There's what, like 16 books? This is ridiculous, and they're all humongous too. I've always been just scared to pick it up because, again, the sheer size of it and the hype, because everyone seems to love it. It's more of a classic fantasy. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know literally nothing about it. Nothing. But with the TV show coming out, it was supposed to come out last year, but a pandemic got pushed back. I don't know when exactly, but I want to try and read the book so I can finally watch a TV show when it comes out and just know if it's worth the hype. I'm telling myself, just, read the first book. If you like it, you continue. If you don't, no big deal, you tried it. I do also have the audiobook on my winning list at the library, so I might start it that way, just so I don't get too intimidated once again by the size. I don't know why I'm like this. It's only 600 pages, but for some reason, I made it so much bigger in my head, and we're trying to continue to conquer my fear of big books, so anyone wants to read it with me, I feel like that should be one of the ones that we read together. Another very famous, very classic fantasy to read, The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I've never read the series. I have book 1 and book 2 on my shelf, and I have heard so many great things about it, and I just never picked it up because the series is not done. I believe there are going to be 7 books, and the first 3 are out, and the 4th one keeps getting announced and pushed back, so I just want to read it. I've been told that you can read pretty much them like a standalone, so hopefully that's kind of true. Basically, I want 2021 to be a good year, and I feel like that would be a fun book also to read together. The next book is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. Everyone has been telling me that I need to continue. I read the first year trilogy in 2020. In order to get to this one, apparently it's like amazing. My library has the ebooks and audiobooks, and these covers, they make me die of laughter. I mean, doesn't that make you want to read it? So yes, I will be hopefully reading at least the first one, maybe the whole trilogy this year, just to get an idea of what the hype is about. Because I like the first year trilogy, but I'm not crazy about it. But I've been told that this one is even better. So once again, very hopeful. Another very classic fantasy book that I see on every list of, best fantasy of all time, must read kind of thing. I'm trying to go through all the ones that I have on my shelf, basically. This is Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. I have never read anything by him, and I feel like he's always an author I hear about from everyone that likes fantasy, so we're gonna make that happen. Is it considered YA? I believe I had heard that the author was given as a challenge to mix, was it Pokemon and the Roman Empire? Is that possible? I feel like it sounds kind of crazy when I say it out loud, but I feel like that was a challenge, and he ended up writing this series. So again, it's not too scary. It's over 600 pages, so it's still a pretty big book. It's the first book in a series, so we could also read this together if you are interested. But yes, I just want to know what the whole hype is about and read something by the author. A few more that I don't know much about. I just know that they get a bunch of really great reviews, and I want to read them. The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I feel like I've seen so many people that I follow that gave this 5 stars. That's all I know. It is also pretty chunky, but again, it's okay. It's the first book in a series. Also, if you want to pick it up with me, and I don't know, it's just been very appealing. The covers too, which I'm usually not big on covers, but I enjoy these ones. So hopefully it lives up to the hype of the 5 stars without knowing anything about it. Let's be honest, I do like to start books without knowing anything once in a while. Okay, so don't laugh at me, but a while ago, like a shameful while ago, I picked up the first Law Trilogy. It's still wrapped in here, but I've been really wanting to read something by the author because it's also always on list of best adult fantasy to pick up. The first book, I believe, is The Blade itself, which actually, let's make it happen. Let me grab some scissors and open this officially. There you go. Now I'm stuck with it forever. You can see the books actually are getting bigger through the series. Let me try and bring out the first one. Ooh, the spine is textured. I don't know why that got me so into it. Oh, actually the whole book. Okay. Do you want to be as mad as me? Oh no. No. This hurts my... Like, this, you saw it. It was wrapped. Oh, my feelings. I know it's not a big deal to some people, but it hurts my soul. Damn you. So yes, the first Law is also the first book in a trilogy if you are interested in reading that one with me, but I've heard positive things about the author, but I've never read anything. So again, we're continuing in the same vein of reading really popular fantasy books. We're almost done and we'll be into the sci-fi section very soon. Next we have Jade City by Fonda Lee, which I've heard is full of political intrigue, magic, and kung fu, I think, which I'm all for. It is a urban fantasy, which I don't read a lot of. So first one in a trilogy also. The third book is coming out actually in 2021, so if I like it, I can, binge read the whole thing, which I love. For some reason, this gives me really like Halloween-y vibes. But yes, I've heard really great things about it. I've been curious about it ever since, so definitely on my list for this year. Good thing I wrote it down because this book, I keep forgetting about it. Because I have the ebook on my Kindle. Let me grab my phone, it's on there too. The Sword of Kaijin. Yes, it is a fantasy standalone one, which not enough standalone, don't have to wait for the next books. But yes, I have been wanting to get more recommendation, and I kept seeing this one as a great, I believe it's also a debut novel, and so many great reviews, like underrated kind of book, and it is on my Kindle. So I need to not forget it. That's why I decided to include it in this challenge. That way I don't have a choice. So yes, definitely a book that I want to get to in 2021 and stop forgetting about it. Next we have A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is going to be my second book by the author. This is probably actually going to be a reading vlog. I've done one like that in 2020, basically giving authors a second chance or last chance if I don't like their book again, because I've read something by them, didn't really care for it, but I'm excited to read something else, which is the case with this one because magical school setting. That's literally all I need to pick up a book. But yes, I wanted to just give her a second chance just because I feel like she gets a ton of hype, but I really did not vibe with Uprooted. I couldn't even finish it, which I don't DNF that many books. So hopeful that this one might work better for me. I believe this is the last fantasy, which, I mean, I did warn you that that was my goal in 2021. I want to read more really famous, popular ones. This one used to be a bit more underrated, but I believe the whole trilogy is out, and it's been getting more hype, and it is Salin Ascends, which I know nothing about it. Absolutely nothing but that cover. It also got a bunch of 5-star reviews from people I follow, so I just wanted to give it a shot, and it's not too intimidating. I need a couple of easier, smaller books, I feel like, on this challenge. 350 pages, I can do. Now we get into the sci-fi category. One author I've been meaning to read something from, but haven't picked up anything yet by, is Octavia E. Butler. This is Kindred. I don't know if it's the one I should start by her. I feel like I've asked that in the past and I forgot which was the answer. But I do have the physical book of that one. I have a couple other ones on my shelf, and I believe I put my name actually on the waiting list for an audiobook in my library. Let me double check. Oh no, it was also for Kindred, so maybe that should be the one I pick up. But yes, I've read nothing by her. I keep hearing so many great things. I believe she tends to do like sci-fi mixed with a bit like historical fiction, like slavery, and everyone seems to really enjoy her writing. And again, I've picked up so many of her books in library book sales, so I have a few on my shelf to get to. So again, not too intimidating, and great reviews. So another series that I need to continue because I read the first book in 2016 when I started my channel. Golden Sun. I read, like I said, Red Rising like 4 years ago at this point, and not gonna lie, I was kind of about it. A few things I enjoyed, but a few things I didn't really care for, and it ended up being kind of a 3-star for me. But I've heard really great things about this series in general, and I have book 2 and 3 on my shelf, so, you know, might as well continue eventually, and I think after 4 years it's about time, so possibly could actually include this also in a, like, giving authors a second chance or series. I'm also planning on reading a bunch of classic sci-fi, so quickly, oh, I know, I've talked about Hyperion so many times, meaning to read it so many times, I should say, and 2021? We're trying this again. Another classic, Foundation. I believe this is a whole trilogy in one book, so I don't know if I'm going to try to just read the first one or the whole trilogy. I guess we'll see how it goes, but if you are interested in reading that one, that could be another possibility. I feel like I've had complicated relationship with a bunch of classic sci-fi because the concept might be interesting, but often the writing can be a little dry, and then, you know, little sprinkles of misogyny, racism and stuff. But still hopeful that it might go pretty well. Hopefully I enjoy the concepts in here. But yes, I've had this one also on my shelf a little while. I picked it up, I believe, also in the library sale. Oh no, I think I got it from Value Village, from the little sticker on the side. But yes, I've been meaning to get around to reading it, so 2021. Next book, another classic, Brave New World. I've never read this. I feel like you usually see it as a trio next to 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, and it's the last one that I've been read, you know, in this trio, so need to get around to reading it. Maybe I'll get back into it or be completely over it after this one. It's less than 300 pages, but I believe I had started the first chapter once, just, you know, picked it up to just see if I were in the mood, and the writing was kind of slow, but 2021, make this happen. Another author that, not gonna lie, intimidates me a ton, Ursula K. Le Guin. This is The Left Hand of Darkness. I have a few of her books on my shelf. I've tried 2 so far. One that I really liked, one that I didn't really care for, but I've heard really great things about her books. They tend to be very difficult for me to read. English is not my first language, and she makes me practice a lot. But the concepts are apparently very brilliant, and it's not big, but still very, very intimidating because it's her, so hopefully I will be enjoying that one. Either this one or The Dispossessed. One or the other. There is Children of God, which is the second book after The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. I loved that book. I read it 2 years ago, I believe. This is a first contact with aliens, but kind of religious, but really not. I'm not a religious person, but like, it's very interesting concept. It's very dark, definitely some trigger warnings to look up. But this is book 2. I had told myself I wasn't going to read more because I find that some books just stand on their own better. Actually did a series about that, talking about standalones, and then series that should have been standalone. And then I added in here this one asking should I continue or not, in a couple other ones. And everyone was telling me yes, it's worth it. So I'm sacrificing myself for anyone that wasn't sure. I'll read it. I'll let you know if it's worth it or not. But yes, still a little scared, but everyone has been telling me that it's definitely worth it. And, you know, it doesn't ruin the first book. So that one for sure. And I remember seeing An Unkindness of Ghost on a few lists, and I couldn't remember which one. I think it was just like new sci-fi. And this one has great representation. I believe the main character, it's in space on a spaceship, and the main character is autistic, queer, and black. And there's a lot of racism and transphobia, I believe. So definitely, again, some trigger warnings there. But a lot of people were saying that it was more underrated and something to look up and read. So I decided to add it on my list. And then last but not least, because I've only been shamed a little bit for Hyperion and we need more in here. Because eventually this year I will probably do another reading my pile of shame, which is a pile of books that I just never finished for no reason. But this is a special one. If you've been following me for a while, you know. Le Comte de Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. This is The Count of Monte Cristo. This is part 2. My edition is in 2 books that both over 700 pages, and I never continued. Actually, that's not true. I tried a little bit this year. I read like 100 pages and then stopped. No, 2021, Emily, you're finishing this because I'm enjoying it. It's an epic revenge story. The first book was fantastic. I feel like the first like 200 pages are amazing, then it slows down, picks up, then slows down. That's why I just never like felt in a rush to continue, but I want to finish it. I really, really want to see, the revenge. So this year, for sure. So I believe this is it. This is 21 books that I'm hoping to read in 2021. Definitely books that I've heard great things, so you might want to also pick them up if you are interested. I will link down below the videos that you might be interested. I actually might put some on the screen. Definitely thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in my next video very soon. Bye. Ooh, and let me know which books you want to read absolutely in 2021.